Can you believe she's in your ears? Monday morning, 1st of June. It's a new month, it's a new week, and it's a new rhythm. We're back, baby. We're back. I really feel like, hey guys, by the way, happy Monday. I feel like my energy post holiday sickness, not being on Instagram, I'm back. I'm back, baby. I'm back in a whole new way. Could also be that I'm about to ovulate. Could be that. Could be everything. Oh, but I'm feeling good. And it's taken probably up until the day before yesterday to feel my life force turn on. Interestingly enough, that was when I went on Instagram for the first time in 3 weeks and posted, which I'll talk about in a moment. Yeah, that was a whole experience in and of itself. But I wanted to firstly just thank those of you who reached out and reflected back to me off the back of the last episode and the week before that, how you've found yourselves, and I've had this multiple times, guys, like, and yeah, it's not been an anticipated part of this experience of being less available on Instagram in particular, but I've had a handful of people reach out and say, Holly, I have felt more drawn to you in your absence, which speaking out kind of makes sense, right? Like, because you can actually are given the space to miss someone or, yeah, feel somebody's absence, which definitely wasn't my intention when I took the break. The break was purely for me. But what I'm really witnessing is how much it works, not in my own, just in my favor for myself, but in the favor of my business, actually. I had someone in my DMs who didn't realize I had an Aquarius North Node message me and say, where is your Aquarius? Do you have any Aquarian placements? Because this is really giving Aquarius. Because I wrote in my stories, if you missed it on Friday, so they're gone now. But I came back online. I said, look, I've been in Fiji. I want to do a little bit of a share about that. I want to share a few work things, mainly the event that I'm hosting in July, of which we only have 5 tickets left, guys. There are 5 tickets left. Links in the show notes. Grab your ticket if you want to be there. So there are some work things that require me to post, and my intention is that if I have anything to post that's work related or life related I want to share, I will do it on my work day, which is a Friday. And so I did that last Friday. That's just gone, and I received many a DM, but one of them was, yeah, this woman saying, where is Aquarius in your chart? Because this is giving Aquarian. And I was like, thank you so much, because this is me leaning into my North Node, which is Aquarius, and this eighth house Aquarian energy, which is incredibly unfamiliar territory for me. I also did get a message from Jules Ferrari, guys. And she reflected the same thing. She's like, I didn't even like consciously notice that you hadn't posted in ages, but I felt your absence and felt myself, going, where's Holly? Like, I need to listen to Holly's podcast. Like, I need to know what Holly's up to. And so it's been this really curious, validating kind of confirmation of this approach to showing up online, where, and maybe this is something that some of you will either relate to or permission for you as well. Like, we tell ourselves we have to do a thing because that's the way we've always done it, or that's the way that worked for us in the past. And for me, it was, I need to be relevant. I need people to remember me and what I offer and how they can find me. I need to grow my following. I'm talking even at the very beginning of this year. That was one of my biggest intentions. I'm going to grow my following online to 50,000 followers. And that was like a leading intention for my work, because logically speaking, the more eyes on my work, the more listeners I will have on this show, the more books I will sell, the more money my business will generate without me needing to do more work, right? So strategically, more people in the community makes sense. That sounds like a cult. The community, more people in my field of awareness makes sense for me and my business. Of course it does. It converts. And so it's just been this really interesting change of focus for me. I still ideally want to grow more than my following on social media. I actually really want to grow my listeners of this show. As I said last week, this is my focus for my business is this show. It's my voice. It's you guys hearing what I have to say, the conversations that we have and growing it. And, you know, we have 300 to 400 listeners an episode, which is pretty great, I would say. For me, I'm proud of that for an independent, you know, podcast of someone who isn't really a public figure. But imagine if that was 4,000 listeners or 40,000 listeners or 400,000 listeners. Like that is the intention for me. But I've never really focused and gone all in on that. It's always been Instagram, 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 the benchmark, Instagram, the following growth, Instagram, the post virality. I need my post to go viral. Instagram, the like, how can I be relevant every day and show up every day and show more people about my life? And to a degree, yes, absolutely, that has served me to this point in my life. But I'm really getting that reflection back now, not just that multiple people are saying we're leaning more into you because you're less available. Fucking love that. And knowing that our north node in our astrology chart, our personal north node, points to our destiny. It is the energy we are here to embody and nail this lifetime. It's when we are in full embodiment of that energy, that's when life, like the destiny point, really amplifies. And it just feels so nice that I'm kind of it's being acknowledged by people who understand Aquarian energy that this is a very North Node Aquarius eighth house thing for me to be doing right before I have my nodal return with these placements. And I know I've got many listeners who are also about to enter their nodal return. So wait until you hear about, like, you guys are going to get a live play-by-play of my nodal return on the podcast. So that starts end of July for 18 months. So it's like, this is absolutely me getting a foot ahead of what already wants to be Holly, be more mysterious. Holly, show less of yourself. My south node is Leo, as is my sun. When you have your sun and your south node in the same sign, it's very conflicting. It's like, be all of you and all of that sign and embody it, but also, where are the wounds? Where are the wounds? Pare it back, pare it back. And a big Leo wound for me, it's not even about validation, I've got to say. Oh, no, it is. So it's validation from certain people, for sure. There are certain particular people where, you know, did they like my story? Did they watch my story? Absolutely. I'm not even going to deny that. But more than that, it's actually, I don't want to be forgotten. And it felt for the longest time that if I'm not active online regularly, people will forget that I exist. And if they forget I exist, then my business won't exist. And then I'll stop making money. Remember, my sun and my south node are in the second house of making money. And so I'm really proving to myself that none of that is true. And it's really cool. The other thing that I've actually come to learn is how taxing that platform was for me personally. And I would always override how taxing it was on my energy or my physical body based on all the opportunity the platform affords me, based on the fact that, you know, when my first book deal was rejected by the first publishers I pitched to, this was maybe 2 or 3 years before Putting Yourself First was signed. One of the biggest reasons was because I didn't have 10,000 followers on Instagram, right? And so it was a very real, and still is a very real thing, that the more followers you have on a platform, things like public book publishers will either turn away or lean into you. It's a really annoying part, actually, because I feel that I have one of the most engaged communities on Instagram in terms of people that I know, whether they have hundreds of thousands of followers or, you know, like me, 16,000. My community is hyper engaged, but publishers don't care. And, you know, even podcast producers don't care. It's the people with the higher numbers get the better opportunities. And so that's also been part of, like, I want to play that game. Like, I do want to play that game because I want those opportunities. I want a producer for this podcast. Do you know how much I've been Dr. Joing the shit out of that? I've been Dr. Joing so hard. Mamma Mia, you need a spiritual podcast. Get me iHeart Radio. Like, why are you not in my DMs? Why? Like, Wellbeing Magazine sees it. You know what I mean? But if I had 160,000 followers, not 16,000, I would have those people in my DMs. So it has been this thing for me where it's like, Holly, play the game, Holly, play the game. But at what cost? And what I saw on Friday, when I jumped back on after 3 weeks not being actively posting, the migraine was instant. and I'd just finished my bleed. I was feeling better physically. That was one of the reasons I went on. I'd had a reading in the morning. I was feeling great. I was sitting in the sunshine loading the content. And then the rest of the day, the headache, and it was in my crown. And it was just, it wasn't even, it was a migraine because I was sensitive to light, but it was this overstimulation. And it could only be credited to the fact that I was back on Instagram after so long not. And when I'm back on, it's not just I posted the story and I posted my my Fiji post, but I was replying to comments. I was looking at some people's DMs. I was, I actually didn't check people's stories because that's another thing that I realized when I was away is I I'm a hype girl. You guys know this. I'm a cheerleader. And so I will watch someone's story. It doesn't matter who. It can even be Taylor, Frankie Paul from Mormon Wives. Yes, she's the celebrity that follows me. I'm fine with you guys knowing that now. I DM people when I want to hype someone up. You could be my client, you could be my best friend, you could be my sister or my brother or my mum or someone that I met in a vineyard 4 years ago or Taylor Frankie Paul. If I see you doing something epic, the least I'm going to do is love heart it, if not love heart eye it, if not write you a comment. And what I realized is I was probably doing that, I want to say 20 to 30 times every day, hype girling someone. And it's I'm a Leo. Other Leos will understand. It's just in our nature. We don't sit and think about it. We just fucking fire off the hype girls. It's nice to have that energy back to me. And that like can seem, I don't know, maybe that's a jarring thing to say, but it's like I get to be my own hype girl rather than hype girling everyone around me. Like I get to redirect that energy back to myself. You can hear me breathe deeper when I say that. So yeah, this is a little bit of an extension of last week's episode around, the is it time for a healing hiatus? Where am I going when it comes to my online platforms, the work I'm here to do in the world? Putting all of my kind of focus into this podcast and making it what I want it to be. And obviously also my readings, like that's a given, they're my bread and butter, but I don't need the constant stimulation and overwhelm that Instagram has given me. And as I said, this is my own use of the platform. This isn't judging anyone else's use, but I do have addiction tendencies in my family. It's in my blood, both sides. So it feels like it's a really great rewriting of how I'm engaging with something that boost boosted for so many years my serotonin and dopamine. And what I actually wanted to talk about today was what I've been doing with all of this space, of which there's a lot that's become available to me off the back of, when I was filling my time with the scrolling. And I touched on this last week, but I wanted to get deeper in this week's episode around this thing around being bored and how we don't know how to be bored anymore. We've constantly got something to fill our space and time with. And it makes me think about when I watch particularly reruns of Friends. And there's like that episode that's coming to mind as I'm speaking this out where they're just throwing the tennis ball back and forth for hours. Like they don't have mobile phones. Seinfeld, it's the same thing. They don't have mobile phones. They just sit around and chat. And also like they just do nothing. They go to the movies more. They go to shows more. They're like sitting in the coffee shop and just talking. And like we've, as a culture, we don't even know what it's like to be bored. And I remember when I went and did the Vipassana meditation retreat, which is a silent meditation retreat, I did it in 2020. It was during my Saturn return. So 6 years ago now. And I went and they take away your phone, they take away, like, you can't take a journal in, you're not writing, like you're literally meditating 12 hours a day on a hard floor, and you go back into your room and any spare time you have, you meditate. Like you are meditating. That's all you're doing. You cannot give eye contact to anybody. You cannot speak to anybody. And the reason that I signed up to that during my Saturn return is I wanted to do something that really scared me. And also, I'd never really been alone before because I've been with Trent for so long. And that was straight out of high school. So I lived at home and then I lived with my friends and then I lived with him. Like there was no area in my life where I'd actually sat with me and just me. And it really scared me. Like I was panic attacking on the way to this retreat. And something that I vowed. It was incredible, by the way. It was amazing. Yeah, it changed my life in a lot of ways. And actually, there's a few parallels with that. Oh my God, come to think of it, let's talk these out. So, something that happened to me during the Vipassana was my dreamscape became super vivid. I still remember two symbolic dreams I'm going to share with you guys. And like my dreamscape was so symbolic because I was getting no external stimulus, nothing. So, I was getting so many metaphoric dreams. And there was this one dream that I had at the Vipassana retreat, one of the first dreams I had. And in the dream, I was covered in leeches. I was covered in leeches and I was pulling these leeches off and bleeding out. And I was asking, people around me, please help me with these leeches. I was on the street and there were no one was helping me. And there was all these leeches. I was bleeding out, bleeding out, bleeding out. And obviously, symbolically, we can look at leeches as energy zappers, energy vampires. And I knew that when I woke up. I couldn't write about it, couldn't process it by talking it out, but I knew what had happened. And a few days later, I actually had a tick in my hand from the venue that we did the Vipassana at. There were kangaroos everywhere. And I had to go off the premises to tell someone that I had a tick that needed to be removed. And so there was this big symbolism that was happening as I was sitting in my own space around tick energy, leech energy, energetic vampires. I had a lot of narcissistic energy in my field around then. And so that was really interesting when I actually took the space and time to be with me. I could reflect on those energies in my field, which is kind of what's happening right now. And I'm not even at a silent meditation retreat. All I've done is take away the noise of Instagram and reflected on what's moving around me, who's hooking into me, where is there reciprocal exchange, and where are people just missing my energy because they were siphoning my energy from me, let's be real, and I wasn't actually getting anything back from the exchange. My fault, no one else's fault. I was becoming this hyper available version of myself. Well, I wasn't becoming, I was this hyper available version of myself that every time I got a DM, I needed to open it and reply. Like, what is it like for me now when I get a DM and I see it there and I think if it's important, they'll email me? It's a complete recalibration of access points and entry points. And yes, that doesn't mean everyone's, wanting a piece of me. Absolutely not. But it's a firmer boundary line for me around what communication I'm available for and what I'm not. The next dream I had in this Vipassana retreat was this dream where I was this is an amazing dream actually. This dream I was in the bottom of a ship, a boat, and I had my little girl in my arms. And remember, my little girl was born in 2021, end of 2021. So this is 2020. But I had my little girl in my arms and we're in the bottom of a boat and there was water filling, water filling, water filling. And I had two choices in this dream. I could either, the door was behind, like I had to basically to get to the door to let us out. I had to either drop my little girl knowing she couldn't swim into this water to open the door and risk her not being able to get through, or I had to let the water drown us both. It was a heavy dream, right? I still remember it to this day because I woke up terrified. And a few years later, I was doing a cord cut for a number of people in my life. And one of the lifetimes that came through, the woman said, "Oh, there's a lifetime with you and your little girl that is a bit confronting, but I feel like it's necessary for you guys to cut it in this lifetime because there's this fear around her basically dying in your arms. And you were on a boat." And I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I've always felt this Titanic affinity. Have I told you guys this story? I've told so many people in my personal life this story, but maybe not you guys. Since I was a little kid, like obsessed, not even just with the movie, but with documentaries, exhibitions, like researching the Titanic. I wrote a creative writing story in year two, or maybe it was year three, and it was called The Synotit, which is Titanic backwards. Like when I say I was obsessed with the Titanic, I was bloody obsessed. And it was in this, and then I had that dream, and I knew I was on a boat and I was at the bottom of the boat and the water was rising and it, pretty much like killed me and my little girl in the dream. I was like, was that past life recollection? And a couple of years later, in this past life, I said, was it the Titanic? And she said, I can't confirm whether it was that boat, but if you have an affinity with it, then yes. But you were in the bottom of a big ship and water filled, and you or your daughter died. And I had chills because I'd not told anyone this dream I'd had at the Vipassana retreat. And a few years later, this past life clearer brought it up. Like the dream was real, like it had happened. And so why was I even talking about Vipassana in the first place? I mean, oh, boredom, that's why. The my senses were so heightened and I was so tapped in when I was in that retreat because everything external to me was taken away. Now, realistically, we can't do that in our day-to-day modern lives. I say that every week now, don't I? It should be the byline of this show. Anyway, we can't do that. We can't, I mean, what a dream to go and like sit a Vipassana every couple of months, but we cannot. But when we remove external stimulus that takes us out of our lives, that distracts us from what's happening in front of us, our channel is heightened. And so for me in Vipassana, it was the dreamscape. Not only was I having these symbolic dreams where I was shifting like leech energy from my field, but I was also having past life recollection. That was just in 10 days. I'm pretty sure that was like 5 days of sitting in silence. So, what I'm noticing in my own field now is that sort of thing is happening where I'm having so many symbolic dreams, but I'm also able to read what I need more because it's not being diluted by the noise, the external. I tell you what, you go off Instagram for a bit, you come back on, everyone's selling something. That's what it is. Me too, me too. I'm literally saying I'm only coming on when I have things I want to share that I want to sell. Like that energy when you're constantly in it, constantly all the time, your channel is scattered. You can still have a really clear channel. Obviously, I've been a psychic reader the entire time I've been on Instagram actively, but I'm finding that I'm able to read for myself better. I'm able to know what I need personally better. Like that has become a lot stronger. And so circling back to this boredom thread, when I came out of that Vipassana, I vowed to myself that I would never, ever, ever say I was bored ever again. Like, no, not allowed, not allowed. Because if you're sitting with every bit of stimulus removed for 10 days, like, and I still found beauty. I was crying by the end of it. It was like a psychedelic journey. I was crying at the beauty of the leaves in the breeze. Like I was really immersed in the present moment of being in life. And we've just forgotten how to do that. I mean, society's not set up for us to do that. It's like we are on these gamified devices that are distracting us from life outside of self. And I hate to be that person that's like, oh, I've turned my phone off for 3 weeks and I'm better than everyone. It's absolutely not that, guys. I'm just reflecting on what it's given me. And it's been so much more than what I could have anticipated, down to the fact that when I am on that platform, literally, I got a migraine, like I got a headache. I was sensitive to light for a full day afterwards. That's not coincidence. Like there's something there around what that's doing to us physically. So, boredom is absolutely something that we should be okay with. Like I said it last week, where we hear a lot of these parenting coaches or advisors speaking about, one of the best things for our kids is to sit in boredom and watch the creativity flow through. And I always do that with my little girl when she's wanting to watch another movie or and we are a screen time house, by the way, guys. I'm definitely not mightier than thou with that. Like she watches movies. But rather than saying, oh yeah, because it's an easier thing to do. It's like, I don't need to entertain her 24/7. I'm going to let her be bored. See what she comes up with, see what she creates. And more often than not, she ends up in her bedroom singing to her Tonys at the top of her lungs, making up these cute little games, like creatively expressing herself. Now, why is that the case for children and not for us? Of course, it's for us as well. So I wanted, because I'm a words girly, I wanted to look up the definition of boredom. And then I'm going to share with you where I'm redirecting my energy instead of scrolling incessantly, because I'm doing so many different things that I just didn't have the capacity to, because I thought my life was so full, but so much of it was just behind the screen. And it still is behind a screen, by the way. Ironically, I'm just redirecting screen time from one platform to another, but they feel, in my opinion, like better uses of the screen. So boredom. Let's look at boredom. The Cambridge Dictionary says boredom is the state of being bored. Thanks for that, Cambridge Dictionary. Also, synonyms, ennui and tedium. Yes, tedious, that makes sense. So let's see. The state of being bored is a bit annoying. Here we go, Wikipedia. In conventional usage, boredom, ennui, or tedium is an emotion characterized by uninterest in one's surroundings, often caused by a lack of distractions or occupations. However, boredom is not well defined. Yeah, that makes sense because it doesn't feel well defined. Thanks, Wikipedia. It's distinct from depression and apathy. Boredom could damage mental health, but it also seems to have improved creativity in humans. Here we go. Here we go. I think we can confuse boredom with a depression or an apathy when it's not. It's an invitation for us to do something different with our energy and our time. And so that's what I've been really leaning into in this redirection of my energy away from the screen, away from Instagram, is befriending boredom, going, oh, I feel bored. And the times you pick your phone up and you go to scroll and you can't, it's like, okay, where can I redirect this energy? Because the boredom is actually an invitation into energetic redirection. And it's an opportunity to sit with, well, what feels like the best expression of my energy right now. And sometimes that's going to do and create, and other times that's going to rest and be. I've been staring outside at nothing way more than I have in like probably 5 years. But it's beautiful. Like it's life is so beautiful, guys. It's been amazing. I'll tell you some things though that I have replaced my scroll with and replaced or like boredom has invited me into. The first thing is, and we know I have hyperlexia, so I love words, word games. So Wordle, I used to love Wordle and then I just stopped. Now I do, instead of my morning scroll, it's my morning word games. So I'm playing Wordle and I'm also playing Connections. Does anyone play Connections? It's so hard. I think I've gotten it the last 3 days in a row and I feel so smart. Like it's really hard. Connections is you're given 16 words and you have to categorize them in groups of four. But the words could be anything. Like you have to find, it's pattern recognition. So you have to find the pattern or the thread between the words. Guys, this is what I'm doing instead of scrolling. It's amazing. So I do Wordle and Connections every day. I'm going to show you guys something now if you're watching YouTube. These are my babies. These, if you're not watching, I am holding up my Bose noise cancelling headphones that I bought duty free on the air at the airport on the way to Fiji. Oh my God, how have I existed without these? If you were on my Instagram before I went away, I did a poll and I asked what were the best loops, Bose, Sony, and resounding yes to Bose. Actually, it was really surprising. And I am on that train. Oh my God. When I put them on in the airport that first time, I cried. The way that and I wasn't even playing anything, it just cancelled all the noise out. But what I've been doing with my headphones is, oh my God, it's so good. I love them. I've been listening to, wait for it, a podcast. What? A podcast that isn't my podcast or Jules's podcast. I've been listening to. It's called Love or Love. No, it's not called Love Struck. Hang on, I'm pulling it up. Love Trapped. Is anyone listening to it? I'm on to episode 9. So anytime I'm like, just have some space in my day to kill, or even when I'm cleaning, or when I'm like yesterday, I was cleaning up Lola's dog poos in the backyard. I had my headphones on and I was listening to Love Trapped. Love Trapped is hectic. I recommend it. It's like it's true crime, but not like scary true crime. It's investigation behind a former bachelor and an ex-fling of his, and it's just diabolical. This case is diabolical. So if you like kind of true crime, it's really good. I'm like, oh, I'm listening to podcasts. Like maybe I could get into an audiobook next. Who knows? Like I'm changing my life here. This is phenomenal. So that's something else I'm doing to kill the boredom time. I am way more present with my little girl. We are having dance parties more. I'm just sitting with her and being with her and not distracted. And I really did find that for me, as a stay-at-home mum who is the primary carer of her, in the afternoons would be when I'd pick up my phone and scroll. And I got to the point where I was like the first person to watch people's fresh stories when they were popped up, and I'd be like, no. When you watch and it's like stories been up for 30 seconds, it's like, I swear I don't live here. But it's now, it's slowing me down. It's slowing me down in ways where it's like, I don't need to be filling this space with anything additional. like it's very Gemini energy actually, of that hyperactivity of like multitasking, doing many things at one time. And it's like, okay, can I just be in this moment, be present in this moment? That's the hardest one for me, really, is the being present. But I definitely am getting better at it. I've been back at the gym, going for walks, taking longer baths. I was bringing my phone into my bath and scrolling reels and telling myself it was okay because the reels were making me laugh. And it's like instead, I'm having a bath and just listening to music, like crazy vibes, like she's in the 90s, or I'm having a bath and I'm like watching a documentary. So it's, as I said, I'm still using the screen. I'm using my phone, but it's redirected in lots of different ways. And it's a kind of annoying too because my screen time hasn't gone down as significantly. My Instagram time has, my screen time has not. So the boredom's also opened up opportunities for me to be actively creative. And I told you guys, I've taken on this co-producer role for A Streetcar Named Desire. We've cast Madeline West as Blanche Dubois. If you guys are theatre people, you will know who I'm talking about, what I'm talking about. It's an iconic piece of theatre by Tennessee Williams. But I'm able to be more active in that role than being like half a foot in, half a foot out. Like we launched auditions. I'm in charge of that. I wrote a whole marketing strategy for the theatre, like for the production. And I'm able to give it my all because I've got this extra energy to give. But I think the actual best part of all of this for me is it's twofold. I am able to deepen my friendships with people, my friends that I already have, friends that I made online that I'm now taking offline, and actually coming back into the act of being a good friend. And something that definitely I didn't realize was such an issue in my life, but I can see it very clearly now is firstly, when you are someone who shows up actively online every day or every second day, your friends kind of think they know what's going on, especially when you have a podcast like mine. And they might, I don't know, like forget to check in on you or just like not check in because, oh, I saw what you're doing online. Or it really was like this thing for me when I was in Fiji and some of my friends didn't even know we were there. And it's because I didn't post about it on social media that like good friends, guys, I'm talking good friends, like really good friends, had no idea we were in Fiji or for how long we'd been there or anything because I hadn't done an Instagram post about it. I didn't like that. That didn't feel good for me. And then the same goes the other way around for me. Like, where am I actually being invited into actively checking in on the people in my life and having proper over the phone catch ups? And for me, with my autism, phone calls are like a big trigger for me, like one of my biggest. But actually getting out of my comfort zone and doing that because I love these people and I want to hear about them one on one rather than through their stories or a post that's so much more generic than when you can go deep with someone. Yeah, even over a voice note exchange. So the energy that I was like expending in being hyper available to every single person in the history of life in my DMs, I'm able to redirect that back to the handful of people that I love with all my heart and want to know how they are. And so I've got, like FaceTime calls scheduled with people and just being able to show up as a friend in a deeper way, uh, in a more present way. Like I was talking it out with Trenny this morning. We went for a family walk down to the beach, which is a 10,000 step walk, guys. Like it's not just like around the block, like it's a walk, but we did that today. Wasn't on my phone, so good. Didn't take a single photo, so good. And I did say that, I think Sundays for me are going to be my check in on my friend's day and like actually via text. And that feels really nice rather than missing a message and then getting overwhelmed by all the DMs and not like, I don't want to miss my friends. Like I've been through enough friend shit and Uranus has moved out of my 11th house. Thank fuck. That's 7 years. I've never had more friendship fucking breakups in my life. It makes sense that it was Uranus. But now I get to really pour into my people in a different way, in a way that's like we actually have to catch up with each other because we actually don't know what's going on in each other's lives because we're not relying on social media to do the heavy lifting for us. So that has been my, well, it's still an unfolding, right? But as I said, when I went on Friday, I didn't miss it at all. The other thing was just speaking into this, is it time for a healing hiatus? That's the other piece that I've been really consciously sitting with. And the more I sit with it, the more I think I have not given myself any opportunity to integrate all of the healing I did last year. And you guys have been across most of that. I mean, every single episode I want to say that I released last year was something to do with something I was healing, something to do with the next remedy I was taking or the next cleanse I was doing. Less the physical healing, though. I'm talking more the energetic and the emotional. I did so much kinesiology work last year. I did, like, it's been constant. It has been constant. And it hasn't felt constant because they're kind of little things that just integrated into my life. And it wasn't until I sat down and filled out this incredible questionnaire. My friend Kate, I don't know how many of you guys know Kate Home. She used to be one half of the Boob to Food podcast, but Kate and I go way back. Kate was my first naturopath ever. When my other naturopath went on leave, but she was one of the first naturopaths I worked with back when I worked in corporate. So we have a huge history. I love her to death. I love her family. Like we are tight, tight, tight. And she is about to launch something brand new, which I'll tell you guys all about next week. But I'm able to have a little experience with it before it launches, and it's reviewing all of your health metrics to date. And then rather than plugging all of this stuff into AI, which obviously can give you diluted feedback, and when it comes to your health, you don't really want that. Kate's creating this amazing thing where you plug it all in to her, and then you get an actual naturopath qualified guidance and advice via voice note. So you don't have to book an appointment within 72 hours. So you're getting this really quick turnaround. It's fucking cool. Anyway, I was feeling everything out yesterday, and I was feeling out all of the healing work I've done in the last 12 to 18 months. The mold detoxing, I've reversed the MCAS, I've reversed hypothyroidism. Like, I've done so fucking much. And I looked at it all at the end of what I'd written. And yes, I've got this lingering inflammation, absolutely. But like, I am not depressed anymore. I haven't been depressed in years. I do not have any signs of active PTSD or complex PTSD anymore. I haven't felt that in years. My cortisol markers are significantly low, like lower than they've ever been. They're still on the higher range or mid range, but they're lower than they've ever been. My pretty much everything bar the insulin resistant stuff is like incredible compared to where I've been. And I took that moment looking at it yesterday and noticing the part of myself that's like, I need the inflammation gone and I need to do this and I'm going to do another cleanse and blah, blah, blah. And I stopped. And it's definitely all my Virgo of like, if you have any strong Virgo charts, which I'm assuming a lot of you would because this is a personal development and spiritual development podcast, right? That is Virgo, self-improvement. How can I be better? How can I be better? How can I be better? How can I heal more? How can I heal more? What can I do more? Like, and how can I give to other people and help them as well, help them heal? And it's exhausting. I'm sitting looking at these results or everything I plugged into Kate. And the questions at the end were like, how are you sleeping? I'm like, great, 8 hours in uninterrupted sleep a night. You know, how are your moods? Yeah, stable. I mean, watch out for me a few days like in my luteal, but standard. How's your cycle? Regular. How's, XYZ? Great, better than ever. And I was looking at all this, I'm like, Holly, stop moving the goalposts. Stop for us. Can you just stop for a second? Like it only landed yesterday where I know I already said last week, is it time for a healing hiatus? And there'll be a part of me that will never not. But funnily enough, I didn't realize this was going to be a full Vipassana episode. When I came out of that 10-day retreat, I gave every deck of my cards away and I stopped journaling and I stopped meditating. And am I going to tell you guys I did this? I took my first illicit drug in Ibiza with my friends the following week. We had that trip pre-planned. Fill in whatever drug you think it was. Like, should we do a poll? I had become so obsessed with self-improvement and being the best, healthiest. I mean, at that stage of my life, I was pretty physically healthy. It was more my mental health that I was really working on and also spiritual well-being. And I was obsessed. And the Vipassana retreat showed me that. And I was like, I am exhausted. I just need to be a human with my friends in Ibiza for a second. I need to let myself actually play. And I'm not saying that illicit substances are, at that stage in my life, it was how I played. It was. And I had never had that before. And 3-5 in human design, I need to try things to see what's for me and what's not. Can say not for me. But I had to go on that journey. And this is where I feel I am again. I'm not getting rid of my cards. It's not the spiritual stuff. It's the constant self-improvement and health improvement in particular. My health has come truckloads from where it's been. I am thriving. I am doing so well, and I haven't given myself that credit. I haven't sat back and gone, can this be enough? And I'm laughing because this is so my second house, the Virgo South Node, my second house of value and worth. Can all the work I've done to this point be enough? And what would it feel like if I just paused? What would it look like if I didn't take a remedy for the next 6 months? I'll tell you what it would look like. I would be integrating off all the intense work I've done over the last 18. So it's like I've gone, I'm not going full the other way. As I said, I'm really excited actually about the next EFT session with Erin, which is happening on Tuesday. So that will be next week's episode for sure, because there's something groundbreaking that my beautiful friend Zoe Bosco flagged with me last night. We had a catch up. She's like, I think you need to take this to Erin. And I was like, I absolutely do. So that's going to be a little teaser for next week's episode. It's going to be epic. Erin, get ready. It's going to be great. So I still am going to do these things like that. I'm still going to feel into when it's right for me to do the colon cleanse. I'm ovulating this week. I'm not going to do it this week. I don't feel, I've just been sick. I don't need to go down again. I don't need to, like, there's so much of my physical body where I'm like, can I just let her be for a bit? And so, yeah, this is where I'm at right now, guys. It doesn't mean I think there's a part of me that's like, does it mean I'm not going to have a podcast anymore? Because if I'm not healing, what am I talking about? I mean, I have so much to talk about. It's just that I think so much of that part had become, well, yeah, part of my identity, but less than that, more an addiction. It's another addiction, isn't it? It's the Instagram addiction and it's the constant need to self-improve addiction. And I'm just putting them both down and going, let the gal live for a bit. Can she just produce some theatre, go for long walks to the beach with her family, and check in on her friend with her friends? Like, can that be enough? And the answer is absolutely yes. That feels really nice for me. I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back in your ears with your What's the Vibe midweek. I hope you have a beautiful start to the month. Oh my God, I love when a month starts on Monday. Oh, and on that, if you're listening to this on Monday morning, we are gathering in the Heart Space tonight at 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time to sit cacao ceremony. I will be facilitating it. It will be so beautiful to see you in there. I'll put the link to join the Heart Space below as well. And if you can't make it live, the replay will be up tomorrow. So yeah, come join us. Come sit cacao with us. And speaking of sitting cacao, as I said, 5 tickets left. Once they're gone for the live event in July. It's going to be amazing. I'm so pumped. The women in this space, it's just going to be magical. All right, that's me. Love you guys.